Prudent Scholars in association with Goa Headmasters Association.
A blissful day to everyone. Today we are going to deal with the subject English and the textbook prescribed by NCERT for standard 10th is The First Flight. As you can see in my hand, this is your textbook. Now the title of this book, I feel it's very interesting. It's very catchy and it always appeals to me because being the students of standard 10th, this is in real sense your first flight. And if you are able to soar high in this year, you will land very smoothly. Your life will be a perfect life, and that's why I feel the title of the book is very suitable for you all. The lesson today which we are going to deal is a letter to God. Again, after having the full faith that you are going to soar high, let's see how much faith we should have in God. In this story, we are going to analyze the entire story. We will see what the author wants to say, what morals he wants to pass on to us, what are the characters and angles at which this story is being written. Okay? So before I proceed on to the story, let me introduce you all to the author of the story. The story, A Letter to God, is written by a Mexican writer, Gregorio Lopez de Fuentes. And he described the tale of an innocent farmer named as Lencho. A beautiful story. Here, I would like to pose a question to you all. How many of us believe in God? The answer will be perfectly yes. All of us do believe in God. But see, look at the title of the lesson, A Letter to God. When you look at the title, you will question, yes, do we believe in God? But starting a conversation with God, communication with God, none of us have that much of faith that we would start communicating with God. That is the hidden treasure, I would say, about this story. This is something unusual in this character Lencho in this story, okay? Which the title is very curious because it poses a question, who is writing a letter to God? And why there is a need for that particular character to write a letter to God? Why he felt that there is a need? Why he did not feel like writing a letter to his friend or relatives or anyone else whom he seems very close, but he chose God to write a letter. So this is something curious, unusual thing about this story. Before we turn to the story, there is a small exercise given on your textbook, okay? And that exercise is about the money order. Now what is this money order? Being in the 21st century, none of you and I myself, I never used money order, but we should be aware what was it. Why we need to know this? Because the reference of this money order we are going to get in the further lesson. Few decades back, it was the only mode if you wanted to send money to your near and dear ones, okay? So if you wanted to transfer money or give money to your parents or your friends or anyone whom you feel like giving, that money order was the only mode through which you could send the money. Nowadays we have Google Pay, Payphone and whatnot, you know everything, right? QR codes, and through that we can easily transfer within seconds, but it was not like that just decades ago. Earlier, the money was sent through post office. The post would deliver the amount sent to you at home with some additional charges, okay? And it was convenient to send money for those who used to study far away. If you are working somewhere and you need to send money to your parents, okay, So this was a comfortable mode to send money. Okay? So I hope the meaning of money order and what is the usage of money order is clear to you all. So let's move on to the story. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his field intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Okay? So, the house, the only one in the entire valley. In this picture, you get a small hill, okay, on which only at the top, crest means at the top of the hill, there is a small house located. And if you stand here, you could view the river flowing, and next to the river, there was a field of Lencho where he had grown corns, and the corns were dotted with flowers. Now, when they were dotted with flowers, it means that it was promising for a good harvest. Being a farmer, and for a good harvest, rain is essential. A farmer is totally dependent on the mother nature for his survival. That's what this story tells us. If it is drought, no rains, then the farmer cannot survive himself. And when there are floods also, we see everywhere what devastation it brings in the life of a farmer. So same here, being a farmer, he knew his field intimately, okay? Intimately meaning very closely, as your parents know each one of you intimately, very closely, your habits, your styles, your way of talking, everything they know very well. Like that, this field was like a child for that Lencho, and he knew his field very well. And his field needed a shower or a downpour. Okay? Downpour means heavy rains, and shower means a light drizzle of rain. So anything would work. If it was a shower, it would work, and if it was a downpour, also it would work. And as a result, he was looking at the sky at the northeast. Okay? Now why he was looking at the northeast? Because it promised for rains. Northeast side promised him for the rains, as he could see the clouds. So he was waiting badly, eagerly for the arrival of the rain. Now we are really going to get some water woman. So looking at the sky at the northeast side, he was very happy, okay? And he said to his wife that they are going to get rain now. The woman who was preparing supper replied, "Yes, God willing." This family, full family, is God-fearing family, God-loving family. Okay? Here also we can see the faith of a man, character, Lencho, that he has faith that it will rain. God won't say no for his request of having rains. Okay? So his wife also says, yes, God's willing that it's going to rain. And she was preparing supper, means dinner. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called them all. Okay? So the older one, the elder children of his, they were working in the field till late evening, and his smaller boys, they were playing outside till they were called for dinner by his wife. Come for dinner. It was during the meal time, just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. Okay? So when they were having their meal, as he had predicted, meaning what he had to tell something which would happen in future. To tell something which would happen in future means predicted. So he had predicted that it's going to rain, and so it happened. When they were having their food, that time it started raining. Big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. Okay? So from the northeast side, he could see big mountains of cloud. Okay? Black mountains, they were approaching. Approaching means coming near, coming closer. So which showed that it's going to rain. The air was fresh and sweet. You know, after the summer season, we are just waiting for the rains, and the first droplets of the rain brings the sweet smell of the mud. Okay? The air becomes crisp and fresh. We feel the freshness of the rain. So also here, due to the rains, the air was very fresh and very smelling sweet. Sweetness here refers to the smell, the earthly smell, the smell of the soil. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he turned, he exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5. So, when it started raining, the Lancho could not control himself. As a child, me and you and even the elders, we feel like going out and enjoy the rain. So also it happened with Lancho. Along with his field, he also went out and quenched his body. Okay? Quenched the thirst of his body, enjoying the rains. Okay? And he was very, very happy to, it was like a blessing for him. That rains were blessing for him. And he says, these aren't raindrops. They are, the big drops are 10-cent pieces and the smaller ones are 5-cent pieces. Here, the writer, a character, Lancho, compares the money to raindrops to money. Now, why does he compare raindrops to money? Because these raindrops would give good yield, good harvest, and the same thing would go and sell in the market and his family would be satisfied. Now, what's a cent? Cent is a currency used by several Latin American countries. So, peso is the currency which is used by most of the Latin American countries. So, here he says 10-cent pieces and the 1 or 5 cents, 5 little ones as the 5-cent pieces. Now, till now we know whatever he was expecting, he got, and he was very satisfied. He was very happy. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. With a satisfied expression. Okay? So, on his face, one could see the satisfaction because whatever he wished, he had got. And he was looking at the field which was draped in a draped with the rain. Draped means covered. Okay? It was not covered with a cloth here, but it was covered with rain. That's why it is called as draped. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly resemble the new silver coins. Okay? But suddenly the situation altered. Okay? And the rain turned into a storm, and not just a storm, it was a hailstorm. The hailstones were falling from the sky. As you can see here, the picture of a hailstone. And this hailstone truly did resemble the silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Okay? Now, the way he had compared the raindrops to peso, here he compares the hailstones to the silver coins. Now, why does he do that? Why does he compare that? Because of the color, okay? The silvery color of the hailstones. That's why he compares the hailstones with the silver coins. The children who were there, it was fun for them, it was enjoyment for them. So they just ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Again, the writer has compared the hailstones as frozen pearls. They look like pearls. Okay? So the children went and ran out to collect these frozen pearls. But the condition of Lencho was not good. His joy had turned into sorrow. "It's really getting bad now," exclaimed the man. Okay? Now analyzing the situation, looking at the situation, he was disappointed. Okay? And he said, "It's really getting bad now. If this continues, he will be in great trouble. I hope it passes quickly." And he was hoping that it should go very fast. But did not happen so. It did not pass quickly. For an hour, the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. So, here we can see the soul of Lencho had become very heavy as he could see the destroyed field in front of his eyes. His child was totally destroyed and no one could bear that, and so also Lencho. His soul was filled with sadness, as everywhere in the valley, everywhere you see, everywhere it was covered with the hailstones. And the fields were looking white. Here again the whiteness of the field is compared with the salt because of the color of the hailstones. If you look at the field and the valley, it would look as if everywhere someone has put salt around. Not a leaf remained on the tree. The corn was totally destroyed. So he was very, very upset because just 1 hour back if you go, the flowers were there on the corn which were promising him of a good harvest, and within an hour everything was destroyed, everything was altered. There was no leaf on the tree. The corn had been totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his son, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corns." So once the hailstorm stopped, along with his son, he went to the field, and standing in the middle of his field, very devastated, with his broken heart, he told his son, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this." Now what's a locust? Locust is an insect, okay, and they fly in a swarm. Swarm means group, okay, and they attack the crops and they destroy the crops. Here you can see a picture of a locust, okay. The meaning is already there in your book. So what do? They attack the field and they totally destroy the field. Like the monkeys, when they enter in our garden, they just destroy the things. They eat less and waste more. Same is the case you can apply here to the locusts, okay. They attack the fields, they destroy it. But here Lencho was used to this locust attack, but hailstone he had not expected. So he says, at least if suppose it was a attack by locusts, they would have kept something for us, but this hail has destroyed everything. And as a result, we have to go hungry this year. That night was a sorrowful one for him. Sorrowful means very painful, very sad. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We all go hungry this year. So he was thinking that whatever efforts we took for so many months are gone in vain. Okay? We did not get in return of anything. And there is no one who can come for help in this situation of mine. As a result, we will all have to go hungry. So he thought his family and himself, they have to go hungry. As a farmer, his only medium of income, getting source of income was the field. If his field is good, then his family would enjoy. But here, as you know, the field was totally destroyed due to the hailstorm. So he thinks that his family and he has to go hungry this year. But in the heart of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. Okay? But in the heart, deep heart, as I told you, they were God-fearing people. That family was God-loving people. They had devoted their life towards God, who were living in that solitary house. Solitary means lonely. As you had seen in the previous slide, that's the only house in the entire valley over there. Okay? So whoever was staying in that house, middle of that valley, they had only hope. And the hope is help from God. The God would come to help us. He won't let us die hungry. That's what they knew from bottom of their heart. Don't be so upset. Even though it seems like a total loss, remember, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. So, Lencho was talking to himself. He was consoling, telling to himself that not to get upset. Okay? It looks as if everything is lost, totally lost. Okay? And there is no other way out for a survival. But remember one thing, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. Now what does they mean here? They means as a child, always we are told, whenever we are in need, the only hope, that is God, is always there watching us, looking at us, and He will just jump to help us. Okay? So that's why he reflects what values his parents had imbibed in him, given to him, that no one dies of hunger, as God does not let anyone die of hunger. So he was consoling himself, soothing himself that my family and I won't die of hunger. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. Okay? So, as we all know that we know very well, anything happens, we fold our hands first and pray to the God, just take God out of this situation. Okay? Please help me to come out of this situation. If anything, you must have heard people talking, if no one knows how I am or what I am, God must be knowing, because it is there in our conscience, deep inside the heart, that God knows, understands everything which is deep core inside in us. Okay? So here he also says the same thing, that as he was instructed again by his elders, okay, that God sees everything. Okay? Dev sagre pureta. That's what he meant to say. Even what is deep in one's conscious. Conscious meaning an inner sense of what is right and wrong. Okay? So God knows everything, what is right, what is wrong, what is happening, what is can be seen, and certain things which cannot be seen, that also God knows very well. So he knew that God knows what I am suffering through. Lencho was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the field. But still he knew how to write. Lencho was an ox of a man. Okay? Now this phrase, ox of a man, resembles, it shows the character of Lencho as a hard working man. Like the way the ox, they work very hard in the field, same way this Lencho was very hard working man, and he worked in his field day and night. But being a farmer also, he knew how to write. So that much literate he was. He knew to read and write as well. The following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. Okay? So at the daybreak means early morning, very early morning, when the first sun ray fall on the earth. That's the daybreak, very early morning, as he was very tensed, as he was sad because of the devastation which was caused in his field. He could not sleep at night. Okay? So he got up early in the morning, okay, and he began to write a letter. Okay? Now here the title of the story, A Letter to God, is appearing. Okay? Here the Lencho writes the letter to God. That's why the title of the story is A Letter to God. So he decides to write a letter to God, and he himself would carry this letter to the town and place it in the mailbox. As he was staying in a village, he had to go to the town and place the letter in the mailbox. It was nothing less than a letter to God. Okay? It was just a simple letter. A simple letter, not written to your friends or your relatives or parents, but a letter written to God. Very surprising. That is the curious part of it. Okay? That is the faith which we spoke in the beginning of the lesson. What the character Lencho has in God, starting a conversation, communication, correspondence with the God. We might pray to the God, we know everything, but none of us would dare to start conversation, because we will feel, if anyone starts also, we will feel he's gone nuts, he's gone mad. That's why he's starting such things, because we know we cannot communicate with him with letters. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crops comes, because the storms, and he doesn't continue. He doesn't write. So what did he write in letter? As an ardent believer, he starts writing a letter to God. Okay? He writes in the letter, God, if you don't help me, okay, then my family and I will have to go hungry this year. We have to die of hunger. And I require 100 pesos. Directly he mentions that he requires 100 pesos. Now for what reason he required the 100 pesos? There are two reasons. One is to sow his field again, to grow the field again, and secondly, till his crops come for the harvest, till they grow, he has to, and he and his family have to survive. For that good reason, he wanted 100 pesos. So he directly writes to God that, God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry, so please give me 100 pesos. Because the hailstorm, and he doesn't continue. Why he doesn't write anything is, as it was told to him that God knows everything, that everything whatever had happened. So he doesn't feel the need that he should write all the things what happened. So he keeps it incomplete over there. He wrote to God on the envelope and placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it in the mailbox. Okay? So he goes to the post office, purchases a stamp, he puts the stamp on the envelope, okay, and put it in the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and was helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. So, as the postman, he was given the work of removing all the letters, sorting them out according to the addresses and pin code, and he started sorting out, and suddenly he saw a letter which was written on the title. The address was said to God, and the first reaction of the postman was a hearty laugh. He laughed from bottom of his heart because in his career he had never come across this type of address which was saying to God. So he laughed heartily. Okay? If we were on the place of the postman, we would have also done the same thing. If you put yourself in the shoes of the postman and think, if you get a letter written to God and that too mailed, okay, formally send the letter, we would also feel like laughing. So also the case of the postman, okay, he also felt like laughing. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address, okay. He worked as a postman for so many years, but he had never come across this type of address. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing, okay. Now, the postman took the letter and he went to the head of the post office, that is the postmaster, okay, and showed the letter. That man was fat man but amiable. Amiable means friendly and pleasant. That person was very friendly and pleasant, okay. Friendly means who is very easygoing, talking, not rude kind of a person, okay. He could talk, understand the other person. That's why his character, postmaster's character, is shown as amiable personality. So when he also saw the letter, he also broke into laughter. But almost immediately he turned serious and tapped the letter on his desk. But he also turned serious and he put the letter on the table and commented, "What a faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God." So he was moved by the faith of Lencho, okay. He said, what a faith, and somewhere he also felt jealous on Lencho that he don't have that much of faith to start a correspondence with the God, okay. So he was very much impressed with Lencho's task of writing a letter to God. As I told you in the beginning that the postmaster was a friendly person, he was pleasant personality. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Answer the letter, okay. So, when he read the envelope written letter to God or to God, okay, he decided that he is going to answer the letter in any case. Now, why does he decide to write a letter back in the name of God? Because he did not wanted Lencho, the character, to lose his faith in God. If suppose he had not answered the letter back, Lencho would have lost faith in God, that whatever his forefathers, his parents had taught him, that God sees everything, he helps each one of us, that he would have not believed in. And postmaster did not wanted this thing to happen. As a result, he decides to answer the letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper, okay. So, when he opened the letter and when he read the letter, it was evident, okay. It was clear that other than your good wishes, ink and paper, you required something else. Now, what was that something else? As we all know, Lencho had asked for 100 pesos, okay. So, if the postmaster wanted to write the letter back to Lencho, he had to give certain amount of money. Okay? Now, if me and you were on that place, oh God, money from where? I would just write a letter that it's not there, I cannot help you out and give the letter. But as I said, the personality, the character of the postmaster did not allow him to do so. Okay? But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for as an act of charity. Okay? But after the reading of the letter also, he did not change his idea of answering the letter. He was stuck to his resolution. Okay? So he was determined. He was sure that he had decided that he will write back to Lencho. Okay? So he asked the money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary and approached to his friends, okay, asking for certain amount, and his friends also were obliged. Okay? Obliged meaning they were also grateful to him, okay, because they were ready to give money to postmaster in return to Lencho as an act of charity. Now, what does charity signify? Charity means to give something to someone whom you might be knowing or unknowing, anyone, but without expecting anything in return. I give, you give. This doesn't appear in charity. I give, I forget. Okay? That is charity. So his friends also, they were not expecting Lencho to pay their money back, nothing sort of a thing. So he talked with his employees, he convinced them to give certain amount, he spared his salary, he put, and then he asked from his friends and he collected certain amount. Now children, this task is very difficult task. When you don't know that person, there is no relationship, no bonding, you have not seen that man, but still you feel like helping that man. This shows the character of the postmaster, and this we should imbibe in ourselves. When there is a need, we should always go for a helping hand. That's what the author, the moral, the author want to give us. Okay? It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. So he was able to send the farmer a little more than half. Okay? After doing such a big exercise also, talking to his friends, his employees, after giving part of his salary also, it was impossible because he was just a tiny worker, a small worker, and as a postmaster. So he was not a big shot man who had lot of money as such. Okay? So he was not able to collect the 100 pesos, the total amount which Lencho needed, but he could collect little more than half. Okay? He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho, and with it a letter containing only a single word, a signature, God. Okay? So whatever money he had collected, he just put it in an envelope, okay, and on top he wrote only one word, that is God. He did not mention that this is given by post office, okay, God has told us, and nothing like that, because he did not. The motto behind writing this letter was that the postmaster did not wanted Lencho to break his faith, okay, to go away from the faith of God, what he was having. That's why he doesn't mention anywhere who gave this money, and directly he says the signature is God. So the postmaster was able to collect little more than half amount after doing such an exercise. After that also he couldn't collect the total amount. He put in an envelope and just wrote from God, okay, signature as God, and kept it ready. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual to asked if there was a letter for him. Okay? So, the following Sunday, okay, the Lencho came a bit earlier than usual. See his faith. Writing a letter, till then it's okay, but here he was so much certain that the God won't say no for his request. That's why he came little early than the usual time and directly asked them if there is a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him with the postmaster. Okay? So, the same postman who had collected the Lencho's letter and had a hearty laugh, same man delivered the letter to Lencho. While the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. So, the man behind the scene was the postmaster who had taken all the efforts to answer the letter. He was sitting in his cabin contented. Contented means satisfied. He was very happy because he had done a generous activity, a generous kind of thing, okay, a generosity he had shown. Okay? So, he was very contented, he was very satisfied, and with that satisfaction he was sitting in his cabin looking everything what was happening outside. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence. Okay? When he got the letter, there was no, oh God sent me letter. There was no surprise. Okay, I had asked God to give something and God has given me. It was plain. There was no expressions of surprise on his face. Okay? As usual, as if someone, his relative has sent him money, like that he received the letter. But he became angry when he counted the money. God could not have made a mistake, nor could have denied Lencho what he had requested. As you all know that the postmaster could not collect the total amount. So, when he counted the money, he became very angry. Okay? Now, why? Because according to him, the God will not make mistake of sending less money. Okay? That counting error God will not make. And secondly, he was such confident man that he knew that the God won't say no also for what he had asked for. Okay? He knew very well. So, he was angry. Angry on whom? Let's see. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for a paper and ink. Okay? So, immediately he went to the window. Now, here window meaning the counter, okay, of the post office. The way we have in banks and all, okay, counter, there he went, he asked for the ink and the paper, okay, and started writing on the public writing table, okay, on the public writing table, okay, the table which is meant to be used by public, which is kept in the bank or any offices also generally, which can be used by all the people, okay. So, he went there and here he started to write with much wrinkles on his brow caused by an effort he had to make to express his idea. Okay? So, here Lencho wrote the second letter to God. Okay? So, he did not come back at home and write the letter. There and there itself he decided that he want to reply to the God. Okay? So, he started writing. And this time when he was writing, there were much wrinkling on his brows. Now, why this wrinkling? These wrinkles were made because the efforts which he was taking to write. Okay? The expressions which were coming from bottom of his heart. That's why the mention is the wrinkles on his brow. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with the blow of his fist. So, what did he do? He went to the window again, he purchased a stamp, he licked it. Now, he was not a much literate and educated man, so he just licked it, put on the envelope and he with a fist he gave a big blow to it so that it gets stuck very well. Okay? The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. Okay? The time the letter was dropped in the mailbox, okay, the postman just ran to see, okay, because they were very anxious, because they had done a good charity. So they were waiting for the reply, and all of us will think that a reply should be a thanksgiving letter. So let's see what Lencho wrote in his second letter. He said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. So what he wrote, God, of the money that I had asked, so whatever money I had asked, from that only 70 pesos have reached to me. Okay, only 70 pesos reached to me. That means he don't want to doubt on God that God did not give him 100 pesos. Okay, he says only 70 pesos reached to me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. And he says again, please remaining money also please send me, because without that I cannot go ahead. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho. But he says, but don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. According to him, God did not make a mistake of sending the money. The God sent altogether 100 pesos. But according to him, the post office employees, being crooks, he calls them robbers, thieves, they rob my money. So next time when you are sending me the remaining amount, please don't send it through mail, because these people are robber. Okay? Now the ending is totally different. We feel, what type of ending is this? Yeah, we are the man who did the charity, and his charity is being questioned over here. Okay, he is being doubted, he is being taken as a thief. Okay, and that's why it is called as ironical ending. Okay, now what's this irony? Irony means something different happen what we expect, and the situation which takes place is totally different. There is a difference between what you expect and the real situation. So what you were expecting, what the postmaster and the employees, his friends were expecting, that it will be a thanksgiving letter and he would say thank you, everything, but here such thing did not happen. Totally opposite thing to it happened. Okay, this is called as ironical ending. Okay, now here we find that Lencho has faith on God, but he lacks faith in humanity. He lacks faith in human beings. That's what at the end we come to know, that he is not able to develop that faith in human beings. He considers the human beings as robbers, the same people who helped him. Okay? So what we have learned through the story teaches us that if we have unwavering faith in God, we can achieve anything. Suppose we have faith in God, we can achieve anything. If with true faith one asks God for help, God responds. But the God responds through his own way. In this story, God came to Lencho's help through postmaster. Okay? Here, God himself did not come down to help, but he took postmaster as his angel, okay, as his guardian, whom he sent as a messenger to help Lencho. Here I would like to tell a small story. Okay, a man was sitting on a hillock, okay, and it was raining very heavily and floods everywhere. Once the man comes with a boat and says, "Come on, man, you will die. Come, I have come to take you." But he says, "No, God will come to help me." They go back. Again the people come, now at least you come, we have come to save you. He says, "No, only the God will come to take me." Okay? But they don't give up. Again, third time they come and they request him, please come, the water is filling up. But again he says no, and he dies, okay? Because of the floods, he dies. And when he reaches to the God, he questions the God. God, I was thinking you will come to help me. Why you did not come to help me? And the God says, Arey fool, I had sent 3 people, 3 angels of mine to help you, but you did not receive the help. So, don't question the faith in God. Might be the God doesn't come himself, but he has his angels. Okay, your parents, your relatives who have that unconditional love towards you, they are the angels which are sent by the God. Okay, trust them that they are the angels, and you will take your life very smoothly ahead. Here I rest my lesson. Okay, let's move towards examination point of view now. Okay, I hope the story is very well clear to you all. Let's see what are the things which are asked from this lesson in your exam. Okay, so from this lesson, complete the following sentences in not more than 10 words each. So complete the statements appear. Okay, and you have to fill these blanks in not more than 10 words. For example, Lencho was not surprised to see the money, but he was angry when he found 30 pesos less. Okay, this type of statement will come, which is there in black color, and the red one is the answer of that particular question. The second is, the employees at the post office laughed because they had never seen a letter addressed to God. Why did they laugh? Because they had never seen a letter addressed to God. This question comes for 1 mark. If it is a complete the following statement, then it is for 1 mark. Again, from this lesson, 2 marks question as well appears, that is, answer the question in 15 to 20 words each. Okay, you are supposed to answer the question in 15 to 20 words. The questions like, why does Lencho call raindrops as coins? Okay, why does he call it as coins? Why did Lencho turn to God for help? Why he asked for help from God only, and why not someone else, his relatives or neighbors or anyone else? Okay, so this type of question also come, direct question, okay, for 2 marks. The third type which can be asked is extract from the lesson followed by a question. Okay, 1 sentence from the lesson will be asked, and based on that a question can be asked. Okay, like, he started to write down with much wrinkles on his brows. Why did Lencho wrinkle his brow to write the second letter? Okay, so based on this statement, the question is put, why did Lencho wrinkle his brow to write the second letter? Here, Lencho was an ox of a man. What does this statement tell us about Lencho? Means, ox of a man means what? Which quality of Lencho we get through this sentence you are expected as a answer. Okay, so this type of 3 types of questions will be asked, can be asked in your paper. Okay, so I hope I am very much clear with the topic, and you will learn whatever is expected. I hope the content of the lesson is very much clear to you all, and you will able to attempt whatever questions will appear for the examination. Thank you very much.